Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in your day. The why here is kind of what we're finishing with. Algebra review. And how about some math fluency? Hopefully that's a little bit neater than the other day. So let's dive into the why as to why these things are what they are. So it's important for us to understand how to work with lines when we're dealing with math. First of all, it helps me just to see things, be visual, and to relate those two fields. That's going to help me solve some problems. When I can look at something with a picture and something with letters, that will strengthen my problem-solving toolkit and resolve. So if I am looking at the distance, okay, so first let's look at distance. Say you've got some axis here, doesn't have to be perfect. Say you got a couple of points, something like that. Well, you can't just count across on the diagonal. Okay, now so you're trying to find that segment there. You can't just count. Here's how I usually just do it, if I can, is I make it a triangle, a right triangle to be exact, because a right triangle gives me a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's really what we're doing with distance. This is c. So in our distance formula, we'll take the square root of each side to get rid of it, and we'll have the square root of a squared plus b squared. And instead of a squared plus b squared, we're going to use the coordinate points. And A, we usually talk about being this, and B, we talk about being this, but it really doesn't matter. So the formal formula is square root of x2 minus x1. That's going to get us this distance. Plus, we got to square it. And then get this distance, we get y2 minus y1. We got to square that. We got to extend the radical over all that. So that's where the distance formula comes from. That's the why as to how it comes to be. Okay, now the midpoint is another situation. I think midpoint's even easier. So if I'm looking at the midpoint of 2 points, and again it doesn't matter where the points are, something like that. Where is the middle? So all we're doing is we're taking an average. We're going to average how far it is this way. We're going to average how far it is this way. And then we just have a point of that. Okay? So what that ends up being is you take, if you have 2 points, you go x1 plus x2, and you divide by 2. That's how you get an average. You just add them together and divide by the total number. And then to get to the y part, it's y1 plus y2 over 2. So there's the y as to what the formulas are. How we, a quick informal derivation of the formula. All right, so I'm gonna work on these. I brought out another piece of paper. I hate to be crowded when I'm trying to do this work properly. Okay. So we have this problem. I'm going to start here like we did yesterday. x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm going to use the formula that I got over here. Distance is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Plug and chug. x2 is 3. x1 is 7. It's going to be negative 4 squared. And it's going to be a positive number because distance has to be positive by definition. So I'm going to get 16 there. I'm going to plug in y2, which is 5, y1, which is 2, 3 squared, which is 9. I'm going to add those together. Square root of 25 is 5. So AB, the distance is 5. If you don't know that, you can use a calculator, but you should know your perfect square is up to 15. Midpoint of AB. Oh, it's a midpoint. Again, this is, for me, this is the easier one. Take the x's and add them up. 7 plus 3 divided by 2. Take the y's and add them up. 2 plus 5 over 2. 10 over 2, 7 over 2. 5, 3.5. That's it. Alright. So midpoint, just add them up. Divide by 2, you get two numbers. Those are the coordinates of your midpoint. Let me do one more for you. Let me do 2. Actually, let's bump down. I'll leave 2 for you. I haven't done this before, but should be alright. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Formula. X2 minus X1 squared plus Y2 minus Y1 squared. I probably should have said this before, but you can have a formula sheet on your exam, so no worries if you don't know or care to memorize this formula. You just have it. So plug it in. X2 is 4 minus 1. 3 squared is 9. Y2 is 2 minus 4. Change that to plus. So that's going to be 6 squared, which is 36. So we're just going to add those together. And I believe that's 45. Let's take the square root of it. We can reduce, but we really haven't looked at that. So let's just go to approximate answer. So to do that, you just take it and plug it in. And you should get 6.7. Approximate. And let me just check it. And it works. Alright. And then, midpoint. So midpoint again for me is easier than 2. Just going to add the x's. 1 plus 4 and divide by 2, and you're going to add the y's. Minus 4 plus 2, and you're going to divide by 2. So I get 5 over 2, and I get, what is that? And negative 2 over 2, so that's 2.5 and negative 1. There you go. There you have it. That is it. That is all. I hope that makes sense and works for you guys. Thank you for your time and your attention. I'll have you practice this some more. This is really the last couple of new things that are going in before the test, and so we'll just keep practicing this, keep reviewing for the semester, and getting ready to take that final exam. Thanks for your time and attention. Take care.